has it. It freaking has it. What's up, everybody? I'm Vick Almighty. Welcome back to the channel. This week, we have a big restoration with a touch of custom. As some of you guys may know, I love working on the original 1985 Jordan 1s. They're built like tanks and they clean up nicely every time. Over the years, I've worked on a ton of 85 on the channel and off camera. Breds, Royals, Chicagos, and some of the more rare colorways. Nowadays, these 85 Jordan 1s go for a ton of money depending on the colorway and condition. Even if they're extremely beat, they still go for some good money. In this situation, I got these for a super steal. Last year, I only paid 300 bucks off Foxtrot uniform. Overall, these are in decent condition. There's just a lot of wear and tear. Laces and insole, same thing with the tongues, are there as well. Now, the reason why I paid 300 bucks for these is because of the left sneaker. So you can see here, the collar area is all twisted up, it's warped, it almost feels like plastic. I'm not sure what the backstory is there. My assumption is that it was probably sitting next to a light bulb, got really hot and just warped. For this restoration, I'm gonna be taking these shoes fully apart, rebuilding them with new soles and padding to make them fully wearable. I did mention there's gonna be a custom touch to it. I'm thinking Union vibes. I have a big boneyard of parts and old shoes. Some old parts that I happen to have, 85 Royal Jordan 1 parts. Now, I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna do right now. You just have to watch and see. This is gonna be a fun project, so without further ado, let's get it started. Now, for this restoration, there's gonna be a ton of deconstruction. I am gonna be taking care of the deep clean first. If I was to clean up the shoe while it's in pieces, sometimes the parts warp, or when it's time to piece it back together, they don't fit like how it did before. I'm gonna take off the laces and insoles, super old insoles. The leather at the moment is pretty stiff, but I'm confident after the deep clean, the leather's gonna soften up. Once I put the shoe trees in during the cleaning and after they dry, the toe box and the overall shape of the sneaker is gonna look a ton better. It's gonna make it a lot easier to deconstruct. Let's go next door. Be safe during this process. There's 40-year-old worth of dust. It could be dangerous for you. Put on a mask. All prepped, ready to go. 3 rejuvenated products that's gonna make a world of a difference with these 85s. Our rejuvenated solution contains natural oils that's gonna help recondition and get this leather nice and soft. During the cleaning, I'm gonna oversaturate the leather using our solution and water. I want those natural oils to penetrate the leather. I'm also gonna be using our soft bristle brush. With this brush and the solution, I'm gonna brush in a circular motion to make sure those natural oils get into the leather. And lastly, our rejuvenator shoe trees are gonna work some magic on these uppers. Like I mentioned, there's some creasing and the shoe is pretty out of shape. Once the shoe trees are in during the cleaning process and while they dry, these uppers are gonna look a million times better. Let's go ahead and squirt 2 squirts of our solution inside our bowl of water. Now for this cleaning, I'm only gonna be using 1 brush. I don't need the stiff for the soles. The soles are getting replaced. The medium, we just don't need it. The soft is what's gonna do the trick. I'm gonna brush the entire shoe in a circular motion until the upper is fully saturated. We live in Arizona. These shoes are gonna dry in 20 minutes. If they separate, not even worried. They're already separated. Good to go with step 1 of this restoration process. The black leather and the red has a nice sheen to it where it's not all scuffed up. The leather definitely feels a lot softer. Even by removing the shoe tree, the upper retains its shape. Now the first step in this deconstruction process is removing the sole. I'm gonna use a pick to remove the stitching. After that, I'm gonna grab a screwdriver, hit a whole 360 around the shoe to pry off the sole. I'm just about ready to peel off the upper from the sole. There's a really cool detail hidden in some of the 85 Jordan 1s underneath the lasting board. The only way to find out if your pair has it is by taking the shoe apart. I've taken apart several 85 Jordan 1s, but I've only seen it once and I was able to keep the lasting board. This is a Korean text that says, of the highest quality. I'm hoping that this shoe contains the same message. Chances are it's gonna be a blank lasting board. Let's find out. It has it. It freaking has it. You can tell right there's text. Yo, that's sick. It's number 2 right there. And carefully take it off. Soles are fully off. Luckily, I was able to keep these intact. On the inside, the polyurethane and the air units were completely dust, not a comfortable wear at all. I'm gonna put these to the side and put it in my 85 collection. Another cool keepsake are these lasting boards. These are in perfect condition. One of these days, I'm gonna have to frame them. Now check this out. On these 85s, on the collar areas, you can hear the crunchiness. Typical issue when it comes to 85s, 90% of them sound like this. There's a few of them that still have soft padding. In order to empty this out, I gotta go ahead and remove the stitching right here in the side panel. There's an L stitch on both sides. Afterwards, I'm gonna go ahead and lift up the sock liner, and all that old dust is gonna come flying out. 30 minutes later, we got all that old padding out. This stuff is disgusting. I'm gonna show you guys how to do a full padding swap, but if you guys don't wanna do it yourselves, there's guys on Instagram that are capable of doing this, such as Flippin' Kicks, A1 Restorations, John Manalo, and a few other people. I'm gonna go outside and continue the messy work. I'm gonna grab the Dremel and shave off all this old leather and glue. All the old glue is fully shaved off the leather. I have a clean base to work with now. Now for the next part is dismantling the entire sneaker piece by piece. I'm using a blade to carefully take apart the entire sneaker. I just gotta be very careful and not slice any of the panels. I am reusing the majority of these parts. Now to continue deconstruction, these are the original 85 soles. Luckily, I was able to keep these intact. The thing is, there's no longer grip. They're ready to crack. They're still flexible, but honestly, they're not wearable. So to make this restoration complete, I got some authentic 85 Jordan 1 soles. Since this is also a custom, I went ahead and bought 2 different Jordan 1 donors. Let me show you. The first donor are these brand new 2025 85 Royal Jordan 1 lows. Honestly, this is a beautiful sneaker. Sucks that I have to break it down. I would totally wear the sneaker all around. It's a good shoe. The leather is nice and thick. They got the tongue tag on point. Very 85 like. Now for this donor shoe, I just need the soles. The thing is, I am gonna break down other parts of the sneaker, such as the tongue, the swooshes. I'm taking the laces and insoles. These are good parts for future projects. The second set of donors that I'll be using is a classic white and red. These are from the 85 Retro Varsity Reds. I was gonna use for a project. The thing is, they ended up being too small. Luckily, it's perfect for this project. Now, both of these donors were a bit more on the expensive side. I could have gone the cheap route and just got some regular Jordan 1 Retro soles, but honestly, that would not complete the look. It's not the way to go. This completes the perfect look. Let's start the breakdown process. I'm gonna pour some acetone into the sneakers, wait 5 minutes, and then apply some heat and get the uppers off. Easy. Same scripture as the OG. Pretty sick. The next step in this process is dyeing these donor soles. For this process, I'm gonna be using some coffee. I'm gonna get the coffee all ready, put the soles in here, put the coffee inside the tray, let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes to get that dark yellow tone. This look good. Let's go rinse them. Moving forward in this restoration process, I got all my leather pieces from my left and right sneaker. At the moment, the leather is pretty scuffed up and rough. I'm gonna be using some 600 grit sandpaper to hit the entire leather area. I wanna get it nice and smooth, get it ready for the new paint job, and I need to do this before I apply new stitching. As I'm going, I'm using the horsehair brush to remove any fine dust that's left over from the leather. Prep is fully complete. Now before I start piecing everything together, I'm gonna take care of the repaint first. It makes sense to apply the paint first before I apply the stitching. When it comes to 85 Royals and Breds, I repainted so many over the years to the point that I just had the paint mixed up and ready to go. For the most part, it's always the same colors. When it comes to Royal, I use these 4 tones. Royal is a tricky color to mix. When you look at it, it's not straight up blue. It kind of has a purple hue to it. Most of the time with any mix, you either have to darken it up or lighten it up. In this case, I use a few drops of white to get the perfect tone, and I always use duller to remove the shine to get that perfect matte finish. For the most part, when it comes to any red on any Jordan, I always rely on these colors. Most of the time, when it comes to these used sneakers, the color's a lot more darker, scuffed up, and just different shades, mainly because of wear and tear and age. Even though I have these mixes ready to go, I still have to tweak them every single time just to make sure I'm matching the condition of the shoe I'm working on. Paint job is complete, leather looks really good. I can't wait to put the shoe back together. Now there's still a lot of work to go before I can get to that point. On the donors, there's a ton of old glue that I gotta remove with the Dremel before I can apply new glue. I'm gonna be using the Dremel with the metal drill bit. All right, so far for this project, I think I got all the prep work out the way. It's time to start piecing stuff together. On the left sneaker, I started piecing it together. I got the Bred vamp on the royal blue tongue. As you can see, I did already went ahead and switch the tongue tags. This was the original one. As you can see, the embroidery on the Nike Air completely washed away. Luckily, the royal blue one still has it intact. On the opposite side, I had to do the exact same thing. Both the tongue tags were completely washed away. Luckily, I had authentic 85 replacements ready to go. Now, like I was saying, I got this side going already. I even got the brand new backing attached. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the opposite side. However, this side is gonna be a little bit trickier. This right here is the original vamp. This belongs to the right side. The one I'm gonna replace it with is an authentic 85 vamp Royal. The thing is, this belongs to the left side. I'm trying to put this on the right sneaker. It's similar, but the dimensions are very different. I'm gonna try to finesse it to make this fit onto here. I'm gonna have to do some cutting and do a little bit of finessing. I'm hoping once it's attached, it doesn't look wonky. I'm gonna do my best. For now, I'm gonna get this side going. I'm gonna apply some glue on the bottom of the vamp, on the new backing, and the Bred tongue, so I can go to the post bed and add some stitching. Next, I'm gonna lay down some glue on the backing and on the leather. I'm gonna let it cure for a few minutes before I bond both pieces together. When the shoe was originally put together, there was a zigzag stitching right on top of the vamp. Before the zigzag stitching was applied, the vamp sat a lot flatter. Once the stitching's on, it creates that nice round shape, making it a lot easier to apply this piece on. As you can see right here, it has that awkward shape. Once the stitching's on, it's gonna create a better, smoother round shape. I'm gonna use a white thread and a curved needle. Zigzag stitch is complete, made a big difference. Before I can lay down some glue, I'm gonna do some dremeling just so I can get the leather roughened up, so when I bond the other piece, it sticks on there nicely. Like I said, this part's gonna be a little tricky, so the glue is gonna play a big factor. Once the glue's applied, I'm gonna stick it on and go to the post bed. So far so good, you guys. Got the front part of the sneakers put together, got the Royal over here, Bred on top, Bred on bottom, Royal on top. Now, one of the most satisfying things to look at is the new backing. As you can see on the inside, brand spanking new compared to the old one. The old one is decades old, stained, extremely beat up, not something you want to put your feet on. Now, one thing I still need to finish up, and I started the process already, I gotta go in and repuncture all the holes on the backing. I'm gonna do so with this tool. I'm gonna put it at the smallest setting and just go back over the original holes. I kind of did all the easy ones already. At this point, I just gotta flex the leather to get the tool onto the toe box. I should have done this step before I sewed this piece on. That looks so much better. Nice and clean. Now I have a lot of gluing to do before I could go back to the post bed and lay down a bunch of stitching on the red, blue, and black parts. I'm gonna start with the quarter panels. I'm gonna lay down glue here so I can attach the new backings on the back. While I'm at it, I'm also gonna be laying down glue right where the swoosh goes. These are authentic 85 royal blue swooshes from an old shoe. Perfect size, good condition. They're not cracking either. Once the glue's on the swooshes, I'll attach it onto the quarter panels so I can sew that whole section all together. This is the Bred back panel with the heel counter still intact. On this one, I'm just gonna be applying the glue on the inside to get it ready to attach onto the quarter panels. On the opposite side though, I did remove the Bred panel so I could replace it with the Royal. Gotta lay down glue here, both sides here, before I can attach them. Now for the collars, same exact thing, glue all on the inside. This part right here is a key factor for this whole restoration and custom. Since I am turning these 85s into a Union custom, they wouldn't be complete without some authentic Union LA tags. These are gonna go right underneath the Wings logo. Glue's fully cured. I'm gonna start with the swooshes, backing, and the quarter panels. I'm gonna bond everything together, go to the post bed, and lock those pieces in. Now, there's really no fast way to do this step. I just gotta take my time and hit the needle on every single original hole. I don't wanna create any new ones. That'll throw off the entire thing. Plus, some of these stitches are really inconsistent, so I gotta keep a close eye on it. Swooshes are locked in, they look perfect. Now for the collar areas, it's gonna take a little bit more time. Everything's double stitched. Now on the bottom Bred side, I got it pieced together. Everything's sewn in. This looks really good. It's starting to get its original shape back. We still gotta do the same exact thing on the opposite side. First, I'm gonna place this piece on the quarter panels. Make sure it lines up perfectly. Once it looks good, I'm gonna heat it up and lock it in place. All right, that piece is all set. Before I can attach the back panel onto the quarter panels, I'm heating up the heel counter to attach these two pieces. Back to the post bed machine to lock in this back piece. For the rest of the reconstruction on this shoe, it's gonna be a lot of back and forth, gluing, attaching parts on before I can sew it in place. Before I glue this on and sew it in place, got my hole punch right here with the correct size. I'm gonna go in and recut the holes on the backing. All right, this is where these 85s are gonna start to look like unions. I'm gonna attach the Bred top onto the Royal bottom, Royal top on the Bred bottom to start to bring these 85 Frankenstein unions to life. Now for the fun part. I'm gonna be adding the second element that makes a Union Jordan 1, and that's a zigzag stitch all around the upper to connect the two different colorways of the shoes. This part's gonna be a little tricky. I have to wing every single stitch. I'm trying to make it as consistent as possible. Union stitching is on there. This custom is coming together. Now the next step before I can piece the front of the shoe onto the rest of the sneaker, I gotta replace the foam on the inside of the sock liner. This is the original stuff. Completely disgusting, something you don't want inside of your shoes. To replace it, we need some new foam. I also went ahead and created my pattern piece for the foam. It's gonna fit perfectly inside. Now it's been a while since I replaced the padding on an 85. I went ahead and hit up Max. He's still the OG when it comes to 85s. I wanted to see if my information was still up to date. He went ahead and gave me a new trick on what I should use for the foam. He said high density foam is a good option for this project. The thing is, I couldn't find some in time for this step. A super unexpected alternative he gave me though, a yoga mat. This thing only cost me $5. Honestly, just by feeling it out, this is perfect. It's a little thin. I'm gonna have to cut out 2 layers, double it up. Once it's in there, it's gonna fit perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and trace it out and cut it. Shout out to Max. I'm gonna go ahead and heat up both of these pieces to bond them. Afterwards, I'm gonna have to do some dremeling. I'm gonna have to hit up the sides, the bottom, and the top so the fitment can be on point. New padding is fully installed. I like how it looks. It's nice and sturdy. Placement's on point. Now for this next step, it is the end of the day. Everybody went home. All I'm gonna do off camera is lay down a bunch of glue on the liner and in this area, let it cure so I can flip the liner over and do some sewing. All right, so I got the glue applied onto the liner area. I started closing it down. So far, it's looking great. Good structure to it. Nothing wonky about it. I'm trying to get the liner as smooth as possible, eliminate any bunching. Before I finish laying down the liner, I got a thin piece of foam that's got to go over the heel counter area. I'm gonna spray some spray glue, place it inside. Once it's inside, I'm gonna finish laying down the liner, then go to the post bed and lock it down with this stitch right here. All right, we're getting there. With these next 2 pieces, I already got the glue on. I'm gonna heat it up and stick it onto the upper. I'm just gonna match it to the original holes and creases to make sure it's in the exact same spot. Once it's on there, we'll go back to the post bed one more time and lay down some black stitching to lock it in. All right, this piece is on. Last 2 pieces, gotta stick these on each side so we can sew them in place before we can attach this on. Uppers are looking freaking good. I don't want to hype it up too much until the soles are on. I'm on day 14 of this project. It's taken so long to get it to this point. Last night I found an opportunity to lay down all the glue, so I went ahead and did so. I got the glue on the uppers, the soles, and the lasting boards. You guys have seen me do that a million times. A thin coat of bark super stick on all 3 parts is all you need. Let it cure for a couple hours before you stick it together. I got some tape on the front and on the back, same thing with the soles. I'm gonna go ahead and line everything up. One thing I did have to modify on the uppers of these 85s, I had to remove a good chunk of it, about ½ an inch. When I put it on the donor, it sat way too high. It sat like this. The last thing I wanted to do was grab the Dremel and Dremel into the polyurethane and the air unit. So what I did was compare it to the original to see why it sat way too high. For the most part, the sole is the exact same height. The only difference is the inside. On the retro, the air unit and polyurethane sits a lot higher compared to the original. That's simply why the 85 upper did not fit on the retro. Doing this step does not change the structure of the sneaker. It was needed in order for the upper to sit on the sole nicely. Now I'm gonna go ahead and stick the upper onto the soles. I'm gonna start with the front, work my way to the back, and then do the rest. Soles are on. Now for the lasting boards, I went ahead and used the original ones from the 85 Jordan 1 lows. Another cool detail that I discovered, on the 85 lows, they put the same script. It's crazy. It's one of those details that you would never see unless you separated the shoe like I did. The thing I also noticed though is, I'm pretty sure this is Korean like I mentioned. On the opposite side, it's a different script. At first I thought they were the exact same, but when I compared them, they're actually different. So I'm not sure if this is Korean or Japanese. I'm sure one of you guys knows, so educate the rest of us in the comment section down below and let me know what this says. Before I put it on the inside of the shoe, I'm gonna go ahead and put my initials in the bottom. That way in 50 or 100 years when these shoes are getting restored again, they'll know who made them. This restoration is almost complete. I can't wait to lace them up. Now for the last 2 weeks that I've been working on this shoe every single day, all I've been doing is handling these sneakers. I want to get these shoes as clean as possible. Not only that, up until now, the Royals and the Breds have never been cared for. They've never been cleaned or reconditioned. In order for them to last another 40 years, it starts with the good cleaning and reconditioning the sneakers. Once again, I'm gonna be using our Rejuvenator solution. Our solution contains natural oils that's gonna help keep the shoes healthy for years to come. In the beginning of the video, I already gave the shoe a good deep clean to remove all the grime and dirt. At this point, all I wanna do is give the uppers a nice pass over with the soft bristle brush to get the natural oils into the leather and also reshape these toe boxes. Cleaning is all done. Before I put these outside to dry, I'm gonna grab the steamer to remove some of the creasing from the tongues and get them shaped up nicely. Final step, let's lace them up with some authentic 85 black laces. All right guys, that's gonna bring us to an end on the first ever restoration and custom on these 1985 Bred and Royal Union Jordan 1s. In the 15 years that I've been doing restorations and customs, I gotta say, this right here is probably my favorite restoration of all time. And that says a lot. I've done some crazy restorations with some good friends. I've also done some crazier ones off camera. The thing with this one though is, it took me 2 weeks to get it to this point. From beginning to end, I did this one all by myself. The attention to detail on this one is crazy. From the very beginning, taking apart the shoe, I was extremely careful removing every single little stitch. Even reapplying every stitch, I made sure I hit every single hole. Extremely time consuming. There's a reason why this project took about 2 weeks. Taking it apart, putting it back together to make sure it looks like an 85 Jordan 1 takes some work. This project would have never happened though if I didn't find the specific shoe with this damaged piece. Because of this, I was only able to pay 300 bucks for these 85 Jordan 1s and pull this project off. Like I mentioned a million times before, 85s nowadays are pretty expensive, so it's kind of hard to buy 2 pairs of 85s to take them apart and do something like this. It gets expensive really quickly. So all in all, considering the value of both 85s, donors, and the time I spent on this project, it's definitely valued in the thousands. This project from the beginning had a ton of obstacles that I had to overcome. For example, the color match had to be on point with the red and the blue, adding the patina here and there, removing all the old thread and making sure the new thread hit every single original hole. Getting the glue job to line up perfectly with the new sole was also a task. Union stitching, making sure it was consistent all around, was also very tricky. Getting the shape of the upper was crucial. It's gotta look an 85. I gotta say one of the trickiest parts though was the collar areas. For example, on this side, this collar area was all warped. Thanks to this piece right here, I was able to get it smoothed out in order for the Royal piece to fit nicely. One of the hardest parts when it comes to a restoration on 85 Jordan 1 is replacing the collar foam areas. On this one, I gotta say, it's my best job yet. The round shape is on point, the thickness, even the density of the foam, it's all on point. For this one, I gotta give a big shout out to Max. Again, you guys, I'm extremely proud of this project. If it wasn't for the help of my friends like Flippin' Kicks, A1 Restorations, Who Fresh, Dane Customs, Max, Jordan Diab, without your help, this project wouldn't be possible. Thank you guys. This gives me the confidence to do more projects like this. For the next one, I do want to buy some more 85s and do something like this, but with different colorways. I'm gonna post these on Instagram. Hopefully Chris Union, the Union team, and Nike can get their eyes on these and see what their thoughts are. As always, you can find all the Rejuvenator products that I use in this video and more at rejuvenator.com. Use promo code 85Union to save 20% off your next order. Also, if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It helps me and the rest of the Rejuvenator team create projects like this for you guys. It helps me and the rest of the Rejuvenator team create projects like this for you guys. As always, this is Vick Almighty. I'll catch you guys next Monday. See you guys.